Hi everybody, sanibonani, welcome to my channel. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and on this channel sibuka ama-reality shows ethu ala eMzansi bese siza la sokhuluma ngawo lama shows, senze ama-reviews ama-recaps bese siyaphinda futhi sikhuluma any other issues avukayo mangabe lama shows sesiwabukile kwi-TV. Siyaphinda futhi sikhulume ngama-celebrities ethu ala eMzansi kanye nama-YouTubers ethu ala eMzansi. If it's your first time joining us today and you really like our content, ungakhohlwa ukuthi upress u-subscribe button la ezansi bese uphinda upress i-notification bell ukuze phela uthole umyalezo uma ngabe umsebenzi omusha sesiwufakile. Listen you guys, the first episode of Uthando Nesthembu has already premiered. But ke thina silaba abalandela ngemuva sile group elandela ngemuva, so I will wait for my viewers ukuthi nabo bayibuke bese ngenza a full review. I hate ukuthi at the beginning of this season they are still talking about number 5, even though it's like they are phasing out that storyline because obviously Ubaba Mseleku is not going to take number 5. But I hate ukuthi we're probably going to waste like maybe episode or maybe 3 episodes still mentioning in number 5. I just feel like it's a waste of time. Can we just get into new storylines already? Because you know, always stay like the first 3 episodes ngento esingafuni ukuzwa ngayo. Really, honestly, if it's not gonna happen, stop talking about it and talk about other things. But ke listen, sisazosilandela ulokhuzana Uthando Nesthembu, so wenza the full review. We're going to have fun. Kodwa ke okwamanje revision is still going on because I went back and watched previous seasons to pick up on the things that I feel like as viewers we need to remember as we move forward watching the new seasons of Uthando Nesthembu. It's amazing how much information it's in the old season, you guys, how much things are clarified when you go back and watch the old seasons. I was laughing actually looking at how much the show has changed since the first 2 seasons. And I think at the beginning they were really trying to test different things to see what works in terms of what the viewers like to watch, and then it just so happened that people liked when there is drama between the wives and they ended up just focusing on that. But there was so much more that they used to do at the beginning of the season, but we will talk about it today. I want to talk about a very interesting cast member or a family member Yaga Mseleku. I've spoken about this family member. If you've watched my reviews Uthando Nesthembu before, you would know Sne Mseleku has been the cast member that has been of interest to me because of her story, and I feel like she has a very important story that I do feel like on Uthando Nesthembu they don't use it as much, and it will be so much there's so much information in that story, and there could be so much lessons in it. There's so many people that have gone through the same things that Sne has gone through, and I do feel like I've focused that much on her, and she has a really good story. Sne is one of the 2 daughters that Mseleku has outside of his marriages. So he had Umpilo and he has Ulokhuzana. Sne is actually the firstborn Mafungwasi wakwaMseleku, Sne. But Mseleku never married Sne's mom, and Sne's mom is late, you know. And then there is Umpilo. Umpilo is the one I spoke about when I was talking about uMakhumalo taking leadership negotiating indaba yokuthi ahlawulwe Umpilo, you know. That is the one who lives with uMakhumalo, Umpilo. Okay, now Usne, now when the season begins, it looks like she lives mainly with uLokhuzana, with umamkhulu, which is uMacele. One thing about uMacele, you guys, we can say anything about her, but she loves Sne. She loves Sne. There is one wife, Kamseleku, that has shown the most love to Sne, just like uMakhumalo has lived and loves Umpilo. It's the same with uLokhuzana Macele. She loves uLokhuzana Sne. She worries about Sne just as much as she worries about her other children. I love that about uMacele. It's one thing that worries her the most. Sne just doesn't want to live at home. Akayifuni guidance that they're trying to give to her. Nalento yakhe yokuthi now and then uthola ingane njengoba seneyingane ezu2 and they feel like she's young, she could be somewhere studying or looking for a job so she can be able to take care of her kids. That is her worry or uMacele. So Mayiqale lokho zamayisaqala in earlier seasons, obviously she really tries she really looked like someone who's really trying, because at the time she was working at the lodge that they own at the beginning of season 1 and season 2, so she was working there. I remember Mseleku trying to give her advice on how to save money so that she could take care of her child, her firstborn, ulokhuzana, Uthando. So at the beginning, Vele, it just seemed like it was Mseleku being disappointed at the fact that Usne had fallen pregnant esasemncane, ngoba ngathi she fell pregnant when she was 18 or 19, and he was disappointed in that. And it looked like Mseleku was so focused on it. It looked in season 1, it looked like Sne was really doing her best to try and make amends and work so that she could take care of her child. But then it looked like Mseleku was just so focused on amaphutha that Usne had made before. As the season move along, season 2, season 3, that's when we find out the issue with Usne is that she is somebody that doesn't like ukuthi ahlale ekhaya. She will come back ahlale laphayana kaMacele, and then after isikashana, and then ahamba nyamalala, and then they will have to go look for her, and then bamthole lapho kubaba wengane yakhe kaThando and whatever. It will be a struggle to try and get her back. When I went back and I watched in between season 2 and season 3, Mseleku actually clarifies ukuthi Usne was there before he married any of his wives. Okay, that's why she is the one that's older than all of her children. So when Macele came as the first wife kaMseleku, Usne came wazohlala naye, azohlala noMacele. And then she left. Remember, likhona ikomalume lakaSne, so she does have a home where her grandmother, her maternal grandmother lives. So kwesisikhathi uthi uya lapho when maybe she's going to see her boyfriend or whatever. So between these two homes, sometimes she will come and stay, sometimes she will go and stay with her grandmother. Sometimes they would think that she's at her grandmother's, but she's with the boyfriend. So Mseleku, she stayed with Umacele, and then she left, and then she came back. She went and stayed with Umayeni, and then she left, and then she came back and she stayed with Umangwaba. She has stayed with 3 of his wives, and for some reason there's always something that happens that Usne leaves home, but she's never like permanently at home. And then that's when she started to come back and stay with Umacele again. Even with Umacele, it hasn't been consistent. Uyafika ahambe. So it seemed to me that there is something that makes Usne not want to be at home. And in the beginning, in the earlier seasons, we do not understand. It's like Usne seemed like a rebellious child. I did not understand it, because I feel like here you are, you have a family, a well-off family, your other siblings, baseskoleni, and it looks like zonke ingane zakamseleku, they're in these expensive schools, they're transported to school, transported back. Why would you not want to do that too? Why would you choose to go and stay at a boyfriend's? Because when they go and fetch her there, it doesn't look like it's like in that way you would leave your home for. So to me, it was a puzzle at the beginning of the season. However, between season 3 and season 4, that's where Usne decides to reveal what was happening with her, because sometimes children behave a certain way and you just think that they are rebellious. Usne really, for Umndeni wakamseleku, looks like a black sheep of the family. And Iyanla once said, black sheeps in the families are a true reflection of what's emotionally happening with the family. They are the most sensitive member of the family. So secrets a family, when it comes to emotional struggles, are reflected with black black sheep of the family. That's a person that is a true reflection of the family, they say. So it seemed like Usne was that person for the family, where everybody, even kunomcimbi begqokile bonke bebahle, kuvele kungacaci nje okukaSne, and you don't understand why she doesn't like being at home. I-relationship yakhe noMseleku has always been a difficult one, because uMacele even says, because the thing about Usne is that she would go ahamba lapha endaweni zakhe, ubaba wakhe would be angry with her. So when she comes back home, when she decides to come back home, uMacele will welcome her back home. She's a mother, so uyazwela, she welcomes her back home. For some time, Mseleku will not speak to Ulon, even though she's back home, will not be speaking to Usne, because he is angry that she has left. So he would decide that he's not speaking to her. But Usne will stay abe consistent, abe sekhaya for some time, and then eventually Nomseleku would decide, okay, this is my child, and start speaking to her. And she says when Umseleku is now okay with her and they're talking, and then she leaves. You know, the next thing she disappears, she leaves. Sometimes she takes the child with her, which is one thing that Umacele is always angry with, that she always takes the child. That's why at some point she decided to go fetch the child and say, listen, go wherever you want to go, but do not take Uthando. Ntando is the first born Kasne, you know. So there is even an episode, you guys, in season 4 or season 3, where Mseleku actually takes his children, like his daughters, all of his daughters. He takes Abongwe, he takes Umpilo and the younger ones out to eat, but Usne is not there. Like, which I thought was the saddest thing, because even though she doesn't stay at home, they know where she is. Umacele always goes and finds Usne where she is, because it's either uga grandmother wake or uga baba wengane yakhe. But Mseleku takes out all his daughters and Usne is not there, which I felt like it was really sad. Also, another issue is that Umacele, when she eventually decides, you know what, I'll let go of Usne, when she wants to come back home, she can come back home. What one thing I will do is get the child back, which is her granddaughter basically. So she gets Uthando back because she wants to live with the child. She says it's unfair that this child would live like this when iy'ngane like ziyabusa zihleli kahle la ekhaya. So let me take Uthando and raise her. Umseleku rejects that idea and says that, you know, le ngane le inekuba ihambe iyoraiswa kubo. And I think the big part of that, you guys, is the fact that ingane kaSne is a girl, because Mseleku doesn't treat amantombazane the same as abafana unless you are his daughter. I don't know if even with his daughters, it's not like the boys. He doesn't treat like the boys, because if really that's the case, yokuthi umntwana must go la izalwa khona, ingane kasisi wakhe Mseleku, he is raising ingane kasisi wakhe because it's a boy. Akasho ukuthi ayihambe lengane iyoraiswa kubo kwayo, but ingane kaMpilo, ingane kaSne, that's what he says, you know. So when uMacele comes back with the child, it's a big issue with household yakaMacele ukuthi, why did you bring this child? This child should not be here. I'm not gonna raise ingane kaSne mina, lengane ihambe iyoraiswa kubo. And it takes time for her to convince Mseleku ukuthi, no, what are we gonna do? Why should we throw away a child because we are upset with what her mother is doing? So eventually Usne, I guess because she is growing naye phela and recognizing ukuthi a lot of the things that she is doing is because of certain things that have happened to her, she decided that she's going to reveal to Macele about the abuse that took place when she was younger, you know. So she reveals to Macele ukuthi at some point, while she was at home, there was somebody that, my understanding is that it's somebody that is related to the family and also worked for the family, because there are times when this person will go and fetch Usne from komalume wakhe or from kababa wengane yakhe azombuyisa ekhaya, and this person took advantage of Usne and sexually molested her. That's what she says, Kwilukhuzana, in the episode. And it wasn't once, it was a number of times that he did. So she makes that confession to Macele, which when she makes the confession, for me it's like you know, of course, you know, I feel like of course something happened to you, because otherwise I don't understand why she would behave the certain, because it looks to me, the fact that Mseleku even mentions because she's lived with Macele, she lived with Umayen, she lived with Mangwabe, it's almost like she is always looking for a place where she's going to feel secured. She's looking for a place where she's going to feel like she's at home. And remember, her mother is also not living anymore, so she does not have a place where she feels like this is my home. She's looking for a place where she can feel like she is at home. And I feel like wherever she is, she doesn't feel safe because she was abused while at home. You know, why say Kabati, she was at ekhaya elikhulu la kaMseleku, so she was at home. So she was molested at home. So it doesn't feel safe for her at home. And the fact that every time she comes home as well, she has to deal with the conflicts, also, that makes the situation worse. So it gets to a point where, because she says, she asked Macele to tell Mseleku, which she does, and then she said it will be easier for her to talk to her father about it after he has been told by Umacele. And Umacele does that, Vele tells Mseleku. And I don't know, you guys. It's a thing of, I don't know what is the correct way to handle that situation as a father. I don't know if he handled it correctly. And I do understand him saying that Sne has lied before, so it's difficult for him to just take that as fact when people say Sne said this. But I feel like in a situation like that, as a father, when your child tells you that this a person did that to them, and it's a person that you had brought into the family, and it's a person that you had made decisions to spend time with your child and send this person to fetch your child or whatever, and when they come to you and say this person did this to me, I feel like his reaction, I'm not saying that it should have been violent, but I expected more anger, or I don't know, I expected more from his reaction. I just felt like he was doubting uLokhuzana Sne, but I felt like at the same time he did try to say, you know what, sizoyilandelela into yakhona. I don't know if they end up going to the police with that story, because Sne did say that she is willing to go to the police if we would see that's what the family does. That's what the family decides. So at the end of it all, you guys, as much as it behavior Sne, I feel like questioning why would she not take my opportunities that the other kids are taking when it comes to this family, because if she wanted to study, she could, and she just doesn't seem interested in that. At the same time, I feel like I do understand why she is the way that she is, because of what happened to her, especially as a child, keeping that secret, because she never told anyone until like now, when she has like 2 children and she's trying to make sense of what has happened with her life. I am in no way saying that Sne should not take any responsibility for the decision that she's made about her life. Of course, we always have to take accountability for certain things in our lives, but sometimes things that happen in our childhood can explain a lot about what we become as adults. And in the season that Sne reveals the whole thing, Umamkhulu promises because they're going to go see a psychologist. They do see a psychologist. It's actually that same lady that helps abantu bakutatako, comes in just to talk to her and all of that, and I'm so happy about that. And honestly, in season 5 you do see a different in Sne. She talks about wanting to learn to drive. She talks about wanting to spend time with her father. I think that her relationship with her father is very important to her, but there is something kumseleko that I feel a little bit like ngathi kune resentment ethile when it comes to Sne. Kodwa when I watched season 3, because Umacele, just like Umakhumalo did with Mpilo, Umakhumalo went and tried and fixed into Kampilo yokulungisa isibongo sikaMpilo with the family yakomalume kaMpumi. Umacele does the same with uLokhuzana, with Sne. But when she goes there kaLokhuzana ukuyofixa ukuyocela ukuthi kulungiswe indaba kaSibongo kaSne, they tell her ukuthi uMseleku azange azahlawule, akazange azamhlawule uSne, so they can't change the surname. So when Umacele comes back to Ubaba Mseleku with that message ukuthi they say uSne asikwazi ukumthatha officially because awuzange uzuhlawule, there is when Mseleku says ukuthi, you know what, abantu bakomalume kaSne ngikwazi ukudila nabo because bathuka ugogo wami, ugogo Flow, bathuka ugogo Flow bambiza ngentombazana, angazi kwakwenzekeni lapho. So Mseleku seems very angry at the family yakomalume kaSne. I think that contributes to that thing that you feel like he has, which is like a bit of a resentment when it comes to Sne. It's like he is angry with umndeni wakomalume kaSne, and that comes out maisuke edila no Sne. But also I feel like it's embarrassing for him, his situation kaSne. It's embarrassing for him as a father, because Sne hasn't pursued ama dreams maybe that he thought she should have pursued, and she feel like it's a disappointment that she fell pregnant so early, and instead of recovering abuyele esikoleni and all that, decided ukuthola ingane yesibili. So it does feel like he struggles to be kind to ingane yakhe and be nice to ingane yakhe. It almost like there is a resentment there. I do feel like that if it was people that were open to therapy, that it's something that could be fixed by therapy. If you were molested by somebody that your father brought into your life, and for a number of years your father didn't treat you kind because they did not understand that the way that you are acting is because of the molestation that took place while you were growing up, because of the person that they brought into your life, that is going to cause something in your relationship with your father, and that can require therapy to go through. Listen, I do feel like maybe Usne is the one that is not willing to deal with that story in detail on camera, and also since it's a person that the family knows when it comes to who molested it and all of that, so maybe they just wanted to leave that story alone. But I do feel like for so many young people, that story was the stories that was more relatable to people, because a lot of young people go through that in their younger years, and if it's not something that they take care of in terms of like counseling or therapy, it can affect them in their lives. I think it's a story that I wish that they had focused on more, like Sne's healing. I wish that they had focused on that a little bit more. Anyway, that's all that I wanted to talk about today. This video has become longer than I thought. I do talk too much, but anyway, you guys, tell me what you think about this story. What do you think about Sne? I don't know, like I really like her, and I wish that she could just, I don't know, like just, aphaphame alungise nje impilo yakhe noma kunzima kunjalo, if she needs to go to therapy, go to therapy. If she needs to go back to school and just pick up her life and just fix it for her two kids, because they're going to need her. Even though Ntando is being raised by uMacele, but Sne is the mother, and I hope Ene she will recover and then take that role again of being a mom to both her kids. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Please like it before and share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ntanda kakhulu.